You're all set. You're ready to go.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Saviana Stanescu. I'm a Romanian poet, playwright, artivist, teacher based in New York. And I'm so happy to have all of you here. Of course, at these difficult times, I feel that what can be better than to spend a Saturday afternoon or evening in some countries with poetry, with poets across borders and languages. So I'm so excited to be able to have curated and host this global poetry series at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, the iconic venue in Manhattan, where so many poets and theater artists have presented their work. Thank you again, the Nuyorican, for hosting us and for being our friend for over 10 years. We have done so many events here at the Nuyorican with my organization, Immigrant Artists and Scholars in New York. And we also added a / immigrant / international artists and scholars in New York, YASNI. So we are doing all kind of events highlighting immigrant voices or international voices, because it's very important, I think, in the global society to be connected, to hear each other's voices. There is no center in today's cultural landscape. In each country, in each town, in each community, amazing artistic things happen. And I think for New York and for us, people around the world, it's very important to be together and to connect with each other through the arts and poetry in particular. Again, for people who just join us, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy our event. There will be a talkback with the poets at the end. So please stay until the end to hear all these amazing poetic voices from many countries around the world. Stay with us. Post questions or comments in the chat. We like to have you here. That's why we are not doing a webinar. We are doing a Zoom community event, basically, in which we can have here the other guests and people around the world joining this Zoom room where it happens, where the event happens. Again, enjoy our event. Each poet will introduce themselves briefly and contextualize their poetry, and then read their own poems in English versions, and probably one in the original language as well. For some of the poets who want to read in the original language, we have Sebastian de la Paz, a theater artist who will read their poems in English. Again, enjoy our event, post comments and questions in the chat. We will ask them at the end in the talkback. And it's so amazing that we are here across so many continents and oceans. We are here to listen to some great poetry in many languages and English versions, and to connect across borders. I'm Saviana Stanescu, and I welcome all of you here at the iconic virtual Nuyorican Poets Cafe. Please make some donations if you have enough money and that makes you smile, because the Nuyorican is doing all these things free. There are no tickets, no price for tickets, everything is free, all this programming. So if you can support the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, please do so. Okay, so let's not talk too much. Let's get into the poetry world. We will start with Hebert Abimorad, who is from Uruguay and lives in Sweden. Hi, Hebert. I met Hebert 20 years ago at the International Poetry Festival in Struga, Macedonia. I loved his
20. It's 28 years.
21, actually.
21.
In 2000. So I'm so happy to welcome Hebert here. And will listen to his poems in Spanish, and Sebastian de la Paz will read them in English. Hi, I'm gonna let you be together, read the poems, and turn my video off. Ciao.
No entender el libro que se lee es golpear contra una ventana de una casa con la luz encendida. He ensayado tantas veces la misma poesía delante del espejo sin entender que me había transformado. Terrazas enclavadas al borde de nuestras vidas nos tientan, pero no tenemos tiempo. Somos los destinados al silencio. Utilizamos zapatos de goma y rozamos la mediocridad que nos rodea.
Not understanding the book you're reading is like banging against the window of a house with lights on. I have rehearsed the same poem so many times in front of the mirror without realizing that it had transformed me. Terraces nestled onto the edge of our lives tempt us, but we don't have time. We are the ones destined to silence. We wear river shoes and skim over the mediocrity that surrounds us.
Algunas cosas tienen solo contorno y es difícil llamarlas por su nombre. Ciertas ventanas son ojos indiferentes al curso de la vida exterior. Los botes navegan como sandalias buscando los pies del sol. En mi esfuerzo por soñar me paso de parada y en mi esfuerzo por retornar sueño con el sueño.
Some things have only contours, and it is difficult to call them by their name. Certain windows are indifferent eyes to the course of life outside. The boats sail like sandals, pursuing the feet of the sun. In my effort to dream, I stop, and in my effort to return, I dream in my dream.
Abro las cortinas de mi habitación y por la ventana veo una grúa inmensa en el cielo. Pende de ella recuerdos que se desprenden y van a descansar en algún cuerpo terrenal no correspondido. La casa ha sido derribada, en ruinas, sin ventanas ni puertas, provoca que todos irrumpan por cualquier lado. Cobijar los pasos que doblan una esquina es conservar tibio la esperanza de un pasado.
I open the curtains of my room, and from my window I see an immense crane in the sky, hung with memories that drop off to the rest in a terrestrial body, unrequited. The house has been torn down, in ruins, without windows or doors. It causes everyone to break in from the sides. To shelter the steps that turn a corner is to keep warm the hope of a past.
El arroyo de nuestra infancia. No hacemos más que nadar en el arroyo de nuestra infancia, en busca de los caramelos. Mas recogemos solo sus envolturas.
The stream of our childhood. We do nothing but swim in the stream of our childhood, searching for candies, but we collect only the wrappers.
El miedo. Primera escena. Sopla el viento. Las hojas del árbol se agitan. Segunda escena. Sopla el viento. Las hojas del árbol y las ramas se agitan. Tercera escena. Sopla el viento. Las hojas del árbol y las ramas se agitan. El tronco se inclina. Última escena. Todo el árbol tiembla. No hay ninguna señal de viento.
Fear. First scene. The wind is blowing. The leaves of the tree are moving. Second scene. The wind blows. The tree's leaves and branches are moving. Third scene. The wind keeps blowing. The tree's leaves and branches move. The trunk is bending. Last scene. The whole tree is shaking. There's not a puff of wind.
La ventana. Desde mi ventana observo dos personas, un auto que pasa de largo, dos personas que piensan, un auto que pasa de largo, dos personas que se encuentran, un auto que pasa de largo, dos personas que reyertan, un auto que pasa de largo, dos personas en el suelo, un auto que no se detiene.
The window. From my window I see two people, a car passing by, two people thinking, a car passing by, two people meeting, a car passing by, two people squabbling, a car passing by, two people on the ground, a car that isn't stopping.
Oh, thank you, Sebastian, for reading in English. Oh, thank Karin for the translation, no? Karin Jopri.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Hebert, for those beautiful poems, and thank you so much, Sebastian, for reading them in English versions. And now we have Muhsine Arda from Turkey. I met Muhsine at a wonderful theater festival, poetry festival in Istanbul. And I met some of these people who are here today presenting over there in Istanbul. I loved Istanbul. It was my first time in Istanbul, and I absolutely loved it there. Thank you, Hilal Carahan, for inviting me. So we are happy to have Muhsine Arda here. Muhsine, please turn your video on.
Okay.
And Chris Lopez, please spotlight Muhsine.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. A nice and cold hello from Bursa, Turkey to all of you. Well, my first poem is written from a small young girl's mouth to Saint Nicholas. Dear Saint Nick, my grandpa is angry with you. He wonders why you say you're from Turkey. He doesn't know you lived in Anatolia so many years ago. Please come. The world is beautiful, beautiful. There are some problems, of course, but they are tiny. Ignore them, please. Lots of people are dying, old people, young people, even babies, in lots of places. Children work like slaves in illegal factories. They collect rubbish for recycling and call dumps home right before our eyes. And many never can become real citizens. Black sisters and brothers go hungry in Africa. The Spanish are free of Franco, but the wounds inflicted by imperialism still bleed in Central America. Petrodollars don't line the pockets of the real people. Everyday prices increase for everything. Power-hungry men rule the world still. But don't mind, Saint Nick. The world is beautiful, beautiful. I was a good girl the entire year, and I didn't upset my mother. I didn't even step on an ant. Our chimneys has been swept clean. We will be waiting for you. Come with my present. Please come. My next three poems that I will read in English first, they are parts of a series of poems in which the speakers are talking from beyond the grave. Somebody. Today, I am somebody who cannot remember who I was. Maybe 10, maybe 10,000 years ago, at the time the glaciers covered the earth. When the sole problem was to survive, I was somebody or everybody. It is just a concept, not a reality anymore. I cannot remember. It's beyond my imagination. At the time of transformation from being to having, my cells, or everybody's cells came down with a disease. When children became the child of a certain mother-father, when children were the children of the tribe no longer, one bad seed, maybe many bad seeds, started the malady. The living soul of Mother Earth missed the bliss of being. Evil started to win. Life forgot the meaning of happiness. I am the restless soul with the burning desire to reveal that being, not having, is the real source of joy. The next one is longing for a star. I am a girl, lame with one deformed hand. My face is beautiful, but even though I am friendly, I was a child without friends. My diagnosis was children's paralysis. If children's playgrounds, if children's songs are beautiful, why isn't children's paralysis? Even my teacher didn't like me and never stuck a gold star on my homework. One day she came, she, the girl who always wore a yellow star. My mom found her hiding under the staircase. My dad didn't want her, but my mom insisted she stay. She was the only person with a star that loved me. But I was jealous of that star on her chest. So she cut one from an old yellow drape and stitched that onto my jacket. I was thrilled. I was finally a girl with a star. My happiness fasted just 3 days. Soldiers arrived with rifles. I was delighted and sure they would love me, for I was a girl with a star. I was terribly wrong. Mom wanted to tear off my star. The star isn't hers, she pleaded. The soldiers laughing said, whether it's a star or a cripple, Aryans never tolerate such filth. Guns were fired. First, the face of my yellow star friend was painted red, then the chest of my mother. Next, they painted my father. Finally, they took aim at my star, and laughing, they shot me, and I was painted red. Now I know the pain in my red tummy wasn't from stealing that apple from my neighbor's garden. Our dead bodies stayed there for 3 days. It was winter. No living creature, not even the flies, came near us. Then a bomb destroyed everything. We won't have graves. My friend with the star and I, once starless, now hand in hand, wander the universe. The next one is a cry of an African girl. I was an African girl. The wonderful nature of my continent made me happy. I loved both my tribe and others. Africa is huge, quite enormous. Like the endless sky, it's infinite with its land and fertility, heat and aridity. Unique are its taboos and animals. Entangled are its minds and pains. Eternal its darkness and wisdom, its ignorance and presence are limitless, with unending violence, music, and dances. Artists can paint the picture gray by mixing white with black, or the opposite, by mixing black with white. A big lie. White is white, black is black in Africa. Nature has created woman, but the witch doctor cuts off the clitoris, claiming it's unnecessary. I was afraid, very afraid of the witch doctor's razor blade. My mother cried as she pushed me inside. My mother cried while I was screaming. My mother cried while my womb was bleeding. My mother cried when I was saying farewell to Africa. Listen, my black-skinned African mother. Woman is created, even if customs sacrifice her, even if taboos silence her. She will be free if she learns to love herself, her body, and every woman. Now I would love to read this last poem, African Girl, in Turkish. Afrikalı kız. Ben Afrikalı bir genç kızım. Kıtamın muhteşem doğası mutlu eder beni. Sevdim hem kendi kabilemi hem de ötekileri. Büyüktür Afrika, çok büyük. Sonu olmayan gökyüzü gibi sonsuzdur bereketi, toprakları, sıcaklığı ve kuraklığı. Özeldir tabuları, hayvanları. İç içedir madenleri, acıları, sonsuzdur cehaleti ve bilgeliği. Bitmez ihanetleri, dans ve müzikleri. Ressamlar gri boyayabilir tabloyu beyazı siyaha vurup ya da tersi vurdurup siyahı beyaza. Yalan, beyaz beyazdır, kara karadır Afrika'da. Doğa vermiş de kadınlığı büyücü keser fazla diye klitoris çıkıntısını. Korktum, çok korktum büyücünün paslı usturasından. Annem ağladı beni içeri iterken. Annem ağladı ben çığlık atarken. Annem ağladı içim kanarken. Annem ağlıyordu ben Afrika'ya veda ederken. Dinle Afrikalı kara derili anam. Yaratılmıştır kadın. Adetler onu kurban etse de, tabular onu sustursa da kurtulacaktır kadın. Kendini, vücudunu ve diğer kadınları sevmeyi öğrenirse. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Noriyagan Poetry Cafe, immigrants, artists and scholars in New York, and Saviana. Thank you. Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you so much, Muhsine, for those beautiful poems. I mean, really wonderful, wonderful work. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Now our next poet is the wonderful Sanaz Davoodzadeh, who is from Iran, but lives in Luxembourg. Sanaz, please turn your video on so everyone can see you, and turn your audio on as well. Unmute yourself, Sanaz. Sanaz, I and Sanaz met in Istanbul at that wonderful festival that Hilal Carahan is organizing. And we spent together a few more days in Istanbul to discover Istanbul together, and it was really fun. Sanaz has just published an amazing poetry book, I Walk on Dead Letters. Wonderful book, translated into English and Spanish. Please check it out. Sanaz?
Hello, warm hello from Luxembourg. I'm Sanaz Davoodzadeh, Iranian poet living in Luxembourg. It's my pleasure to be part of this great event with the great poets from all over the world. I will read some short poems from my new collection, I Walk on Dead Letters. This book is now available on Amazon, and this collection contains so many poems that shows the death and violence, and this two concept have a significant present in poems, and this volume of blackness is the result of living in a turbulent geographical area, living in the Middle East draws people language to the expression of nothing less. When we meet, the distance between us is the cigarette smoke. When we don't meet, a cup of hot tea and a few sugar cups is experienced over and over. When I started, finish it for you, and word continue many years for me. If you open the borders, I would immigrate to you without visa. My case is not political. I run away in love. If I return, they will sew up my tongue and lips. Love is wordless, with border, homeless. I was born crying. I live shouting. I like taking my leave. I like to be a smile, same as Mona Lisa. When I slept in the bed, the nurses came. The clothes came too. There was a sound of butterfly everywhere. When the nurses went, I stayed in a place like North. Everything was fresh, and it had a wheat smell. To reach you, I walk on dead letters. Perhaps a word says, oh, even with wounded word, it can be walked beside you. It's meaningless for night that what the color of its clothes. It's me whose seasons are the color with night's clothes. I love you. How simple was my dream. It thought that these sentences was said only by you and messengers. Stay wherever you are. Love is a strange event. If you are present, it will be present too. If you are not, it will be present more. Seeing you is an everlasting habit. When you are absent, I see you more than ever. Yesterday, she was lost in her shadow's flower. Today, she appeared in the blossom of an apple tree. Me and you look at the clothes you left, and I would be rain with the clothes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Saviana. Thank you, Global Poetry, for invitation.
Thank you, Sanaz, for those beautiful words and poems. So nice to see you all here, and so nice to see you, the wonderful poets that I love to be here with us. Thank you, Sanaz. We'll be back, of course, all of us for the talk back at the end. So yeah, don't leave, any of you. You can hear these wonderful poets talking a little bit about their inspiration, and to answer any questions that you might have. I'm talking to the people in the audience. You can post your questions in the chat. Thank you. Our next wonderful poet is Lydia Dimkowska. I go way back with Lydia. I think we've known each other forever. She spent some time in Romania. She speaks Romanian. I'm so impressed with Lydia. She writes poetry. She writes novels. She's from Macedonia, but is based in Slovenia, in Ljubljana now. We are so happy and honored to have this wonderful writer here with us, Lydia Dimkowska.
Thank you very much, Saviana. mulțumesc mult in your language and in my language in a way, because as you said, I used to live in Romania, but I am from Macedonia. I write in Macedonian. And I live in Slovenia. And so it is very beautiful now to be at the same time in New York and in Ljubljana. It is not usually like that, but at least COVID brought to us this possibility to be in two places at the same time, with Zoom, of course. I'm going to read my poems only in Macedonian because I don't want to miss the opportunity, New Yorkian artist, actor, to read my poems in English. So I will be very honored if Sebastian read them in English. The first poem I'm going to read is Patuvania Journey. It was several months ago, poem a day at the Academy of American Poets. It is translated in English by Ljubica Arsovska and Patricia Marsh. And in Macedonian sounds like this. Patuvanje. Времето те прегази во мигот кога тргна. Во автобусот преку границата, кондуктерот ги избриша седиштата со заборавена брошура за човековите права. Врз прозорците на другите патници не врнеше, само врз твојот капките удираа како камења, исто како на излезот од едно познато метро, кај што врне без престан, и малите сирачиња дуваат лепак во пластични кесиња, исполегнати на подвижните скали. Душата ти трепереше во тампон зоната. Телото ти зјаеше како испразнет шкаф пред селидба. Ноќта беше безсмислата на денската смисла. Со прекини сонуваше нераскинлив сон. Како 19-тиот век патува наоколу брадосан, божемпијан губитник. Како 20-тиот век се стрижи и бричи во градска берберница, а 21-виот безглаво трча помеѓу нив. Во првиот град те пречека клубот Политковскаја, во вториот ирскиот паб Джойс, во третиот бели куќи со завеси од тантели и со некролог. Денес ке го погребеме доктор Роберто. Од балконите на пеколот висеше долна бела облека. На балконите во рајот пак одамна снема јажиња и штипки за сушење испрани мозоци. Бабичките во ќошињата на квартот не пружаа повеќе ни рака. На масата во сопчето на твојот сонародник 2 тома од Капиталот и клуч за тоалетот. Од лустерот се нишаше слободна јамка. Ако биде се добро, еден ден овде ке станеш и ти поштар кој со врзопче клучеви ке ги отклучува градските гробишта и на мртвите жени ке им ги чита писмата од мртвите мажи. И тогаш ке те пресретнат малските момчиња во долги црни капути. И потоа никој повеќе нема да се сеќава на тебе, ни дека си бил тука, ни дека си се родил некаде. Please, Sebastian, now is your turn.
Of course. Journey. Time trampled on you the moment you set out. In the couch across the border, the conductor swiped the seats with a brochure on human rights someone left behind. Rain didn't beat against the windows of the other passengers. It was only yours that the raindrops hit like stone. Just like at the exit from a metro station, you know, where it's always raining, and the little orphan sniffs glue from a plastic bag, sprawled on the escalators. Your soul shivered in the buffer zone. Your body gasped like a cupboard emptied before moving out. The night was senseless of the daytime sense. You dreamt in snatches an unending dream of how the 19th century travels around with a beard like a drunk loser, how the 20th century has a haircut and shave at the town's barber, and how the 21st runs frantically between the two. In the first city, the Politkovska Club awaits you in the second, the Joyce Irish Pub in the third, white houses with lace curtains unnoticed. Today is Dr. Roberto's funeral, while underwear hung from the balconies of hell. But heaven's balconies have long run out of clotheslines and pegs to hang washed brains out to dry. Grannies in the corners of the neighborhood didn't even hold out a hand anymore. On the table in the small room of your fellow countrymen, 2 volumes of Das Kapital and the key for the toilet. An empty noose dangled from the ceiling light. If everything is all right, one day you too will become a postman here. You'll unlock the town cemetery with key from a big key ring and read to the dead women the letters from the dead husband. And then the neighborhood boys in the long black coats will come upon you, and afterwards no one will remember you anymore. Not that you were here, not that you were born somewhere else.
Thank you. And now the second poem, it is Freedom, Sloboda. It was published in Columbia Journal in English. Sloboda. Slobodata во лифтот на светот секогаш притиска погрешно копче П. Наместо на приземје излегува во подрумот, а таму пред лифтот стојат маскирани крадци, кои удираат клоци и шлаканици, или исклештени манијаци со спуштени панталони, или обезбедувачи што ја штипкаат за задникот кога нагло се врти кон лифтот, што цимолејки веќе се искачува угоре. И потоа сите ја грабаат за градите, ја влечат за нозете, а таа се отима и помодрена се довлечкува по скали до приземјето, а таму стојат деца со училишни чанти и го чекаат лифтот од најгорниот кат. Видја каква е, си шепкаат. Потрчуваат по скалите дома и се заклучуваат. Страфи ме од слободата, да не нагрне врз нивната врата, да не се испружи пред нивниот праг, да не им побара вода, леп или постела. А не знаат дека слободата што ја имаат во животот се мери со преостанатите шолји од сервисот за чај во еврејските музеи низ светот. Не знаат дека морињата isfрлаат и луѓе, не само школки. Не знаат дека джелатот станува жртва кога ја обезглавува, а жртвата станува джелат кога ја заборава. Не знаат дека металот на чеканот е од секогаш лабав и паѓа пред да мавне директно врз прстите. Не знаат дека тоа е таа иста слобода за која учат на часовите по историја, а лесно ја удира воз на ближната пруга. Не знаат дека слободата што ја имаат во животот е бела површина на црна длабочина, исто како мефна трудница, од кој и тие се родени, но некој дури во смртта ќе станат и слободни.
Freedom. In the lift of the world, freedom always presses the wrong button. Instead, on the ground floor, she gets out in the basement, where masked robbers stand in front of the lift who pick and slap her, or grinning maniacs with their trousers down, or security officers who pinch her bottom when she turns back to the door of the lift, which is already squeaking its way back up, and then they all grab her by the breasts, drag her by the legs, and she struggles. Beaten black and blue, she drags herself up the stairs to the ground floor, where children stand with their satchels, waiting for the lift to come down from the top floor. What does she look like? They whisper. Then run up the stairs to their homes and lock the doors behind them, afraid that freedom might lean against the door, sprawl at their threshold, ask them for water, bread, or a bed. And they don't know that the freedom they have in their life is measured with the remaining cups from the tea set in the Jewish museums across the world. They don't know that the seas wash up people too, not just seashells. They don't know that the executioner becomes a victim when he beheads her, and the victims become executioners when they forget her. They don't know that the metal head of the hammer is always loose and falls off before the hammer is swung, straight onto your fingers. They don't know that it is that same freedom they learn about in history classes, but is easily run down by the train on the nearby railway. They don't know that the freedom they have in their life is a white surface over a black pit, the same as the belly of a pregnant woman, that they too were born from, but it is only in death that some will also become free.
Thank you so much, Lydia and Sebastian. wonderful, wonderful poems, Lydia. You know, well, we only selected wonderful poets and wonderful poems. So, hey, it's a little redundant to say, but still, I'm going to say it. Now, the next poet is Hilal Carahan, who runs a wonderful festival in Istanbul. And she's an amazing poet herself. She will introduce herself and contextualize her poems. Hilal, can you please?
Hello.
On? Yes.
I am yes, I found it.
Yes,
Yes, I am opening the video now.
I leave you with Hilal.
Hello, Saviana. I am very thankful for you for this kind invitation, and also it's very nice to see many friends here to be together again. I hope this year in Feminist Istanbul I can invite all of these poets, these good poets, to Istanbul, and we can be together again. Now I want to read you three poems actually. They are very how can I say? They are short poems. First, I will read English and then Turkish. Okay. I cannot see myself, Saviana.
Yes, we can see you. We can see you.
It's
Chris
okay.
Lopez, why is Hilal unable to see herself? We can see you, so you know.
It's okay, no problem. Middle East. It lulls the history on its feet since it gave birth to it. It comes loose from its hair with human ribs. Skirts of the cities are scattered by desert winds over stone courtyards, mosques, ancient squares, vaulted streets which always lead to one another. Smell of ground coffee, spice and gunpowder rose on same halls. Sands cover the blood but cannot wash. Names of God written to the desert are savagery, ignorance. Children are born and die. Famine is their destiny, diarrhea is their fate. Grudge does not make a wish. In the desert night, cold, belief and family consensus warm up, baking in one another. Even if they are killed, Bedouin felt does not penetrate blood. The women are bought and sold in exchange for camel. They are circumcised from life. Their faces are tattooed to man, hearts are harvester. Orta Doğu. Tarihi doğurduğundan beri ayağında sallar. Saçındaki bitleri insan kaburgasıyla arar. Köl rüzgarlarıyla savrulur kentlerin etekleri, taş avlulara, camilere, kadim meydanlara. Hep birbirinde biten kubbeli sokaklara. Aynı közde kavrulur dibek kahve ve baharat ve barut kokusu. Kumlar kanı örter de yıkamaz. Vahşettir, cehalettir çöle yazılmış yaradanın isimleri. Bebeler doğar ve ölür. Yazgıdır açlık, kaderdir ishalleri. Kin dilek tutmaz. Birbirinin sırtına dayanarak ısınır çöl gecesinde soğuk, inanç ve kavim kavli. Can yarılsa bedevi keçesi kan geçirmez. Deveyle alınır ve satılır, sünnetlidir hayatta. Yüzleri erkeğine dövmeli, yürekleri biçer döver kadınlar. My second poem is about the little boy, the 3-year-old little boy, Aylan Kurdi, which was found dead in Aegean Sea. That in Aegean Sea, with its claws, that petals rubber bolts crossing El-Sirat, certain hopes drop into fire ocean. The world, whose south is disappeared, waves at backstage like a curtain. When morning has dawned, refugee children trundle into the middle of metal. Europe is looking blind, listening deaf. If they can reach to doors, it will accept 400,000 refugees to make leaf toothpicks for cogwheels of capitalism. They will be hungry, thirsty, but still alive. If they can pass Aegean waves, Greek police batons, Hungarian wire fences, Macedonian railways, if they can reach Europe. Middle East has shaken out the tablecloth. Paradise and hell are got underfoot. Everyone lives in heart's cage, watching the earth through its wounds. Ege denizinde ölüm. Tırnaklarıyla okşar ölüm. Sırat köprüsünden geçen şişme botlara. Dökülür ümitler ateş okyanusuna. Uğultusu artık duyulmayan dünya usul usul dalgalanır perde arkasında. Gün ağarınca kıyıya vuran mülteci yavruları yuvarlanır yüreğin ta ortasına. Bakar kör, duyar sağır Avrupa. Kapısına ulaşabilirse eğer 400.000 mülteciyi içeri alacak, gönüllü kürdan yapacak kapitalizmin dişleri arasında. Aç, susuz ama sağ kalacaklar. Ah bir geçebilseler Ege'nin dalgalarını, Yunan polisinin coplarını, Macar tel örgülerini, Makedon raylarını, ah bir ulaşabilseler Avrupa'ya. Sofra bezini silkelemiş Orta Doğu, cennet ve cehennem insanın ayakları altında. Herkes kalbinin kafesinde yaşar, yarasından bakar dünyaya. And this is my last poem. I saw the sky's veins. The night splashed, sky cracked. Mayors of glass in the streets. Relaxed spring, civilization, a metal insect in the night's bed. While truth dries on a balcony robe, we think that gods and prohibitions are the ordinary. No morning can save from the cliff where the night throws the city. Göğün damarlarını gördüm. Çağladı gece, gök yarıldı. Sokaklarda cam kısraklar, boşalmış zemberek, gecenin yatağında metal bir böcek, medeniyet. Balkon ipinde kururken gerçek, olağan karşılanır. Tanrılar da yasaklar da. Gecenin kente attığı yerden hiçbir sabah çıkaramaz. These poems are from my book, Between Night and Fire. It's in Amazon. I hope people can reach them. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Hilal, thank you for that beautiful reading. You know, it was really a great reading. And definitely everyone buy the poets' books, and poets talk about your books if you need to, or post the titles in the chat so people know a little bit about your work. Thank you, Hilal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll see you in
later.
Istanbul.
Yeah, hope. Yes, this year, I hope so. Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Thank you. So the next poet, Joan Ironim, is an old friend of mine, meaning that we go way back. We know each other. We've known each other for so many years. She's a poet, a translator, a dramatic writer. She was the Romanian cultural attaché in Washington, D.C. Hey, so let's welcome Ioana Ieronim. Ioana, please turn your video on.
Here I am.
Thank you.
Hey, hello to everybody. Can you hear me? I cannot see myself, but can you see me?
We see you like on the
That's
big
okay.
screen, and we can hear you.
Good, that's okay. I am extremely happy to be in this group. Thank you, Saviana. Thank you, all the organizers. It is really, you know, I speak to you from Washington, D.C. When I was a cultural attaché here in the 1990s, this was a different city than it is today. And I must confess, I am here with a heavy heart, but with hope. Let us hope democracy will be stronger, and let us see it recovering. So here I greet you, and my first poem is one that I wrote for Saviana and all of you. I have practically just written it. And towards its end, there is a Romanian charm, which I will read in Romanian, and then I have an approximate translation of it. So, hi, sisters and brothers. We have just looked into the abyss, and the abyss looked right back. Our fingers clutched around a handful of words, of seeds, winged seeds, a poem, a charm of healing for the narrow passage, a wedge to cross over. One distant galaxy dies as astronomers are watching. The snow-bedecked mountains of our childhood melt even as we speak. The new minute will hold 59 seconds. We are prepared for it, brothers and sisters. We profess the art of brevity. We live on stolen time, tempo rubato, the step of flight, flight in the air, flight on the ground. We've just looked again into the abyss, and it looked back, the steam of its breath hot against our faces. 41 de bobi, 41 de frați, bine știți, bine să dați, bine știți, bine să dați. 41 seeds, 41 brothers, 41 sisters, you who know it all, tell me good news about the future. A handful of words in our palm, a poem, a charm to keep the door open. Now, another poem that I practically wrote at the beginning of this young year still, it's a poem about pears, the fruit. Pears in January 2021. In thin, silky paper, these pears, a gift in high winter. Pears sweet and juicy, of French ancestry, they say, brought to America more than a century ago. They were personally packed by Maria Nava of Oregon, as the card reads. I hold this big ripe pear in my palm. Its golden skin remembers the shelter of Maria's hands. Life on the other side of the mirror. A note flutters free from the box. It asks, do you notice unique markings on our Royal Riviera pears? They are wind scars, it says, the result of high winds whipping tree branches. These same winds contributed to the spread of devastating fires, destroying homes and displacing countless people. I hold a pear. I touch its gilt scars of survival, the fruit harvested by Maria with her skilled, scarred hands. And this is a prayer while the year is young. May the time of renewal open our eyes to keep and nurture the myriad of silent things that nurture us, and we take them for granted and only praise and love them dearly, desperately, when they are at a point of no return. And now, this is a poem I wrote under COVID, as all of us are. Our quick times. Our quick times turn us all into strangers, a newcomer, each of us, every day. You don't think so? Just go to the place where you grew up, for example, and see what you find. But there is a longer way we have to go now, back or forward, and spell again the language to speak with the Empress of Bees, with the King of Fish, the Father of Wolves, and the old snake mother. Blood of our blood, bone of our bone, we left them behind. They are waiting on our threshold. There are online sites now to teach yourself languages. That may be of help. A poem about America, American Vista. The geometry of power, a triad, 3 spirals waltzing conjoined, holding each other at bay. A triangle, the most stable of forms, grounded underfoot. 3 branches and their tendrils that keep the right distance for justice and freedom not to be lost. Wisdom and dream of the foundation, beautiful geometry, meaning to keep us safe. Aho, the triangle of power is under siege of irrational numbers that swirl and slide and bounce against its sides. Fat jesters pluck its strings. The strings are out of tune. And now this will be my last poem before a little Romanian. This was written at an international poetry festival. Fievrei candor. Some people don't need a translation. Fever and candor. What's going to trigger love, inspiration, they ask. Does this happen like a spark? Does it get ignited through fear? Fear out of all things, oh God, indeed. And you, eternal child, singing in the dark, truly with fear, fear of death, darkness within, touching darkness without. But who wants to have the stamp of darkness on their face? They are now selling makeup that stays on your skin for a whole day. So in the morning, remember, you had all tenderness in your fingers, thinking how to please him, and your heart soared high. In the evening, the makeup still there, and that tenderness all gone. Oh no, not true, just kidding. Smile to cover it up, smile, while the flames consume you deep inside, innocent and fierce like the bite of the fox eating its way into the young Spartan soldier's body, and he standing upright, motionless, spear frozen in hand. But you try to learn how to write a poem that you can email in an instant and still have it written like an ancient prayer carved in a rock. And now a very little Romanian poem. Dar cine, ce zeu miop privește lumea prin bobul de rouă? But who? What nearsighted God looks at a world through a lens of dew? So, and once more, I'm so happy to hear my colleagues' poems. It is really a wonderful gift at a time like this.
Thank you so much, Ioana. Thank you so much for your beautiful poems. So we have now Noe Morales Munoz from Mexico. I know Noe from the theater world, actually. He's a playwright and director and a multidisciplinary theater artist and poet. So I'm really happy to have Noe Morales here. Noe, please turn your video on. Noe.
Thank you, Saviana. Thank you very much for your invitation. I must say that I'm not a poet, to be really sincere with you. But well, nevertheless, I'm happy to be here. I hope that you are good and healthy right now in this particular moment that we are all facing. And well, despite I'm not a poet, actually, I would like to share with you a text that I wrote some years ago, maybe more than 10 years ago, when I was like in a residency in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in South America, and I was deeply affected by my relationship with the city. I really feel like that this current situation, the global pandemic that we are all facing right now, has to deal somehow with what I wrote back then, because the things that affected me when I was in that fascinating and violent city are things that are still affecting me now. Bodies, physicality, health, mental health, violence. And I think that all these factors are still very, very present nowadays. And I insist, especially in this pandemic, in the situation that we are facing right now. I will read part of this text. It was supposed to be a play for the stage, but to be sincere with you, it has never been staged, but it has been read a lot, not only in Spanish, in my mother tongue, but also in the English translation. So maybe that's why, because it's more a poem than a play. I don't know. If you happen to define it at the end of this reading, please let me know what it is. But I would like to share it with you, and I would like to dedicate the reading to my friend Saviana and to Iber Celeste, who is around here. The name of this text is Diagonally Thrilled, and it was translated by Simon Scartefield, who was commissioned by the Royal Court Theatre London, where this translation was first read. You have to be sure that the only path to saving ourselves, to saving at least part of humanity and the odd territory, which is not yet lost, which it may be possible to try to win back, passes through the immediate annihilation of the following 6 people: me, you, him, her, us, and them. Some kinds of solitude only make you want to move on. After exactly 12 hours of constipation, you steal a pen and start to trace the scattered coordinates of a map. Lines with no pattern, surfaces crisscross with a desire to reach the abyss and lie face down on the ground before it. To contemplate it, let it contemplate you, and then, when it has come to believe that with this contemplation it had made us belong to it, sort of, let yourselves fall into it. Nothing heroic, nothing romantic about it. Just the physical counterpart to a movement of the will. Find yourself suddenly surrounded by a crowd of silent people. Look around and see that you are in the middle of a pilgrimage with nowhere to go. Trips, stumbles, suspension of the normal rules of intimacy, of personal space, trajectories that cross each other's paths, contaminate each other, and drift apart. No formalities, just pure sort of contact. Abandon yourself without any fuss to the subtle reduction that's implicit in multiple contact, enmity. Unravel that reduction in each one of those bodies that move, change, differ. The oppression of a few areas in particular, the tip of the coccyx, the bit between the index and the middle finger, the way hair grows, if you have any, the haphazard paths of the countless veins on their way to the muscles in the face, the left calf, the metatarsal, the many bones of the metatarsal, the perineum, the peripheral, dark, and concave areas of the desiring machine. Enjoy the transitory possession of that crowd of bodies. Enjoy it by inhabiting more than one of them, knowing they are real to you in the immediacy of their surrender. They are real because you get an ephemeral touch of that Babel texture, heteroglot and metalinguistic, bodies that escape you, of bodies that flee. You have to show the meaning of what can't mean, to represent the body, the minuscule and precarious body, that's been left in some half-open doorway by the reductive tyranny of urban routine. If you could slice the air that separates your head from the skyscraper's tip, you would uncover the original equation, the genesis that shapes the land's original nucleus. You must remember that. You must fix it in your mind. To look on the landscape's primitive face, when you confront that defining moment, the moment when you have to take on a role, play a part in the performance of modernity's extreme concert. Escape, get out. But when you flee, don't do it explicitly. Stand out, be different. Abandon the others in their collective abandonment to an absurd and generalized floating. Write the body out. Spell your body. Fold it right out, stand on its edge, and see it written down. Look for meaning in the violent interruptions of the lines and shapes, in the broken bits of this being that is always at the edge, eccentric. Write the body out eccentrically, strip it of its shaming, shameful, cloistered condition, and tie it to the world, and find meaning for it, and strip it of all those vicarious ways of maintaining for a random period of time an identity. From where you stand, write it out, and write it out again, so that your body, if that is what it must be, either be a body written out from the outside or not be. And so by the effect of the movement, of fate, and the loss of chance, this is what you believe. This is what you have been given to believe. You find yourself immersed in the scene as perpetual as everything else that repeats itself every day in the subsoil, in the earth's innards, in the mess of endless intersections of the people who live in irresolute passage. People who believe that if they keep moving, they can find fleeting exemption from the strict rules of time, temperature, climate, humidity, sweat, clutch of symptoms that point to a foreseeable surrender. So there you are, living in this sojourn as a legitimate product of your will. But what you don't know is that the mere fact of your arrival here is proof of the dramatic functioning of the scene. I have no more skin left to give you. Every tiny crease of it you have made yours. Now I'm gonna read just a brief extract of this same text in Spanish. Habría que saber que la única forma de salvar a alguna porción de la humanidad todavía rescatable pasa por el aniquilamiento impostergable de las siguientes 7 personas. Yo, tú, él, ella, nosotros, ustedes y ellos. Cumplir 12 horas exactas de parálisis y lanzarse a trazar un mapa de coordenadas difusas, líneas irregulares, planos atravesados por el deseo de postrarse frente al abismo. Llegar ante él, contemplarlo, dejarse contemplar por él, y luego, cuando se le ha hecho creer que por el mero ejercicio de su contemplación le pertenece, dejarse caer. Sin heroísmos, sin afanes románticos, apenas la corroboración física de una acción volitiva. Verse rodeado súbitamente por una multitud en silencio. Girar la vista y hallarse en medio de una peregrinación sin objetivo. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Noe. Thank you. Yeah, it was beautiful. And of course, you know, I consider many playwrights and theater artists poets as well, especially when they are doing a kind of complex poetic writing. And now I'm actually wearing my poet hat as well. So thank you all. So Chris, please spotlight me with my poet hat on, meaning that I have my regular background, not the virtual background that I had before. I'm in my own room with my books, my poetry and theater books behind me. So now I will read a few poems myself. These are all poems that I wrote in English, but they do have some Romanian in them. And because actually today there are 19 years since my father died of lung cancer, I'm going to read first 3 poems that I wrote at different times dedicated to my father. Bafto dello dello. My dad, Cornell. I see my face in his on the gray snow. I see his face in mine on the gray window. I see him at the airport for the last time when I left for America, New York, on August 23rd, 2001. I see him muttering 3 words, our words. People call them gypsy words, his Romani words. Bafto dello dello, bafto dello dello, bafto dello dello. In Romanian, salut, noroc. In English, good luck. In your language, whatever your daddy used to tell you to make you feel invincible. Breathe in the smoke. So strange, Daddy. Last night at our students' show, Angels in America, I could feel the smell of your Snagov cigarette. No, it can't be that. It's just stage smoke, stage light, stagecraft. Yes, it was you, Tata, leaning over the window, pushing the smoke outside so I don't breathe in what you breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe. Your smoke, your tobacco smell is here in my nostrils, in my mouth. Kushner's angel has your voice. My forehead still remembers your goodnight kiss. A spell, a lullaby, a whisper, a cigarette burning until the last drag. Tomorrow you'd have turned 80, Dad. I will light a Marlboro for you and let the wind blow it out like a suspect candle. La mulți ani lumină, tată. Peaceful light years, Dad. Mute, commute. Cornell bus, luxury bus, oranges, snacks, hot chocolate, tea, the promise of a perfect trip in silence. We like to keep it quiet, Greg, the driver from the Cornell University, proclaims. Keep communication to a minimum. People nod. I can see their nods with the eye on my back. The one that doesn't suffer from motion sickness. The one that keeps me on track. Even if I don't drive, I'm mostly driven. I lie, I do drive my thoughts into impossible chasms. The last scene of Thelma and Louise. My imagination freezes above the abyss. I'm the ultimate commuter across the ocean, across the continent, across the state of New York, bi-coastal, bilingual, binational, buy your subscription to sadness. This global foreigner is on the house. It comes well packed, full of ideas in various colors. Buy tickets online. It might be sold out. You don't want to miss this ride from yesterday to tomorrow, from before to after, from nowhere to somewhere. You want to be on time. This bus doesn't wait for you. This bus stole your father's name. Cornell with an L, got an extra L in this American reality. Mom cries and I hold my breath. Daddy's coming. Tata vine to wash your hair and whisper, go away, bad thoughts. Go, Daddy's here with you commuting from the word after to the word before. Daddy's here. The Balkan high jump champion, the coach, the athlete, your personal trainer. Start to move your fingers and count your blessings. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. And now I'm going to read 2 more poems in another register. Google Me is my signature poem from my book, Google Me. And Muhsine Arda actually translated it into Turkish. Thank you, Muhsine. Google Me. I had to move into another language. Mine was too small, too poor, too lazy, too beautiful, but self-destructive in an old-fashioned romantic way. The words grew to fight with each other and die on cyber battlefields, defeated by the god of internet and the American dream, always reborn out of the ash of our daily nightmares. Google me, Google me. Every Everyone I know Googles me now. Google is my proof that I exist. I think, therefore I am. No, I have a website, therefore I am. www.saviana.com. That's why I really needed to move into the English language. So people who Google me can understand who I am and what I am doing on this noisy earth. I called the movers to help me. No one answered. But I must say that the voice of the machine answering my call was really sweet. She said, "Thank you for calling Global Movers. You need a passport, you need a visa, you need to wait in line at the American Embassy in Bucharest. You need to get up early. There are people waiting since last night, sleeping on the sidewalk across the embassy. You can't stay on the same side. There are guards guarding, and you don't have an American passport. So thank you for calling and try again during our office hours. Although we don't actually have office hours, we are an internet company. Visit our website. You can travel wherever you want on our website. We are looking forward to your feedback. Write it down on globalmoversblogs.com. So why do I need to move at all? Why do I need to travel? There's a McDonald's on my block in Bucharest. There's a cinema with Hollywood movies 2 blocks away. I've got a laptop, a DVD player, an American dishwasher. Everything is fine. Global Movers, I don't need you. I'll just stay here in my small Romanian apartment. I'll Google everything and everybody. I'll live a full life in English without subtitles. And I'll never move. I'll never talk. But I'll have a funny screen name like Peaches in the Sun or Hole in the Flag. And the last poem that I wrote recently after the events in Washington, D.C., it's a very basic poem, very direct poem, but I felt the need to write it and to read it. America is not great because it's powerful. America is not great because it's big. America is not great because it's technologically advanced. America is not great because the First, Second, or Third Amendments. America is not great because it has a great army. America is not great because Hollywood. America is not great because history. America is not great because slogans. America is great because it's a home for people of different colors, races, ethnicities. America is great because it's an ideal, a promise for a better life. America sells, offers, exports, dreams. What's going to happen now after a MAGA mob nightmare? What's going to happen now after the world woke up from the dream, from the nightmare? Thank you all. Mulțumesc. Those were my poems, and that was my poetry hat. And now I'm back into the curator host hat. And I like to welcome on the screen a wonderful Russian poet with many awards. He's also a leader of many writers associations from that part of the world. Let's invite on the screen and welcome Vadim Terekhin. Vadim, please can you turn your video on, and Sebastian will read Vadim's poems in English. Thank you so much. Vadim Terekhin. Can we turn his video on? If Vadim, can you hear us? Can you please turn your video on and the audio on so we can hear you and see you and welcome you here. Mm-hmm.
Hello, Saviana.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. I want to say hello from Russian poets. I'm going to recite my poems in Russian, okay? Words and music. Слово и музыка. Слышишь, заводит сверчок песню на лире запечной. Как бы мир не был жесток, слово и музыка вечно. Мы рождены, чтоб пропасть. Канет во мгле бесконечной слава, богатство и власть. Слово и музыка вечно. Как же нам жить на земле, Тихо, неспешно, сердечно, в мире, лежащем возле, слово и музыка вечно. Мир уместился в 7 нот, но в суете быстротечной все в этом мире пройдет, слово и музыка вечно.
Words and music. Do you hear the crickets start? The song on the lyre is baked. No matter how cruel the world is, words and music are eternal. We were born to be lost, vanishing in the endless darkness. Fame, wealth, and power. Words and music are eternal. How can we live on earth simply, slowly, cordially? In a world of evil, words and music are eternal. Life fit into 7 notes, but in a hurry fleeing, everything in this world will pass. Words and music are eternal.
Water, вода. Известно, что, придя в движение, по всем законам естества, в системе общего снабжения вода безвидна и мертва, и ждет спасения, доколе не образует в трубах течь. Вода не может жить в неволе, как поэтическая речь. Она подвержница течения, напора, скрытого в груди, и из любого заточения всегда пробьет себе пути. И если посмотреть на воду, примерить жалкий опыт свой, лишь вырываясь на свободу, вода становится живой.
It's well known that in accordance with all laws of nature, water is unseen and dead on entering the supply network, and awaits to be rescued until it starts flowing through pipes. Water, like the language of poetry, can't live in captivity. It's devoted to flowing, to pressure hidden in the chest, and always beats its way out of any kind of captivity. And if you take a look at water, compare it to our own meager experience. As soon as it breaks loose into freedom, water becomes alive.
Обрати внимание, прохожий, не на помрачение в народе, а на то, что вечен образ Божий в каждом первом встречном пешеходе. Даже если он заочник ада, ученик его кругов и петель, пожалеть обиженного надо, ибо в нем остался горний пепель. И в тебе, прохожий, вечен тоже свет, что неуклюже и нелепо бьет тихонько из-под тонкой кожи и обратно просится на небо.
Be careful, passerby, not for the turmoil in the people, and that the image of God is eternal, each of the first comer of the pedestrian. Even if he's from hell in absentia, visible at his circles and curls, we must feel sorry for the offended, for there was mountain ash in it. And you, passing eternal, too, a light that is clumsy and ridiculous, gently gets under the thin skin and he asks for heaven.
И когда повстречал я бомжа на каком-то вокзале, убогом я подумал, что наша душа точно так же смердит перед Богом. Бог не требует наших молитв, но лежу пред тобой распростертый, это я, и снемогший отбит, это я, худоцветный и черный, это я, предъявивший права и просящий пощады несмело, понимаю, что эти слова, может быть, наше главное дело.
And when I meet a homeless man at some wretched train station, I thought that our soul, it stinks in the same way before God. God does not require our prayers, but I lie prostrate before you. It is I who am battle-weary. This is me, thin-colored and black. I'm the one who presented the rights and begging for mercy timidly. I understand that these words may be our main business.
Апокалипсис, несущий страшную заразу, подобен вычерному сглазу, я на просторах бытия для всех нас долго стану главным, незримым, властным, своим равным, да и не главным тоже я. Без цвета, запаха, летучий, я вездесущий и могучий, и у меня хватило сил, когда при мировой огласке на праздник праздников, на Пасху я даже Бога отменил. Всему имея сопричастность, Иисусу я сразу в жизни ясность, что человеку человек не друг и брат, а только частность, прямая горечь и опасность, как некто снизу нам предрек. Меня повсюду будет много, я властью данной не от Бога, земное племя обвиню во всех грехах, знаю в участке, и с помощью обычной маски я этот мир разъединю. Second. Неужто не спослано свыше, что землю в положенный срок захватят летучие мыши, и вирус их главный пророк? Неужто сражениях за место под солнцем в клетушках квартир держать под домашним арестом он сможет взбесившийся мир? Мы строим вокруг оборону, надеюсь, вот так по-людски, что скоро грибную корону сорвем с его круглой башки, и мир сразу станет понятен, и правды взойдет торжество, и столько расплывчатых пятен мы спишем тогда на него. Third. Говорят, что каждый модник, чтоб от века не отстать, должен впредь носить намордник, на собратьев не чихать. И на долгие недели, будто брачное кольцо, человечество одели эту тряпку на лицо. Обязали чувством долга, намекнули, что беда, может быть, пришла надолго, на лучше навсегда. Ни ответ, ни привет, непонятно, что к чему. И на свете нету света, что рассеивает тьму. Fourth. Пускай Господь народ хранит, и лишь о том мы Бога просим, что нас терзающий ковид развился в Болдинскую осень, и мир, как Пушкин карантин, куда теперь любой зачислен, восстанет из своих глубин для торжества свободной мысли. Возьмется за тяжелый труд, омоется в чернильной влаге, и рифмы бойко потекут, рука потянется к бумаге. 5. Посещал всех без опаски, был в любое время вхож, но теперь посредством маски я забыл, как я хорош. Сердце требует простора и хороших новостей, но сегодня я как Зорро всюду прячусь от властей. Берегусь от злой природы и наверняка пойму ценность внутренней свободы через внешнюю тюрьму. 6. Этим нечаянным вирусным летом я бы хотел быть только поэтом. Семени сеять, поля не пахать, птицы небесной по жизни летать. Братья и сестры, дрозды и синицы, что же нам взять? Мы пернатые птицы, что же последнее жадно отнять? Право чирикать, свистеть, ворковать.
Apocalypse. 1. Carrying a terrible infection, like a portentous evil eye, I am in the vastness of being. I will be the main one for everyone for a long time. Invisible, domineering, wayward, and I'm not the main one either. Colorless, utterless, volatile, I am omnipresent and powerful, and I was strong enough with worthwhile publicity on the holiday of holidays on Easter. I even canceled God. All having a sense of ownership, I will immediately bring clarity to life. What is a person, not a friend and brother, but only a particular one, direct bitterness and danger, as someone from below predicted to us. There will be a lot of me everywhere. I am a power not given from God. I will accuse the earth tribe in all sins, rotting in the precinct, and using a normal mask, I will divide this world. 2. Was it sent down from above? What do in due time bats will take over, and the virus is their main prophet? Really, in the battles for a place under the sun, the cubicles of apartments keep under the house arrest, he can make the world go mad. We are building a defense around it, hoping like this in a human way, that soon the mushroom crown lets get off its round head. And the world will immediately become clear, and the truth will rise in time, and so many blurry spots, we'll write it off then. 3. They say that every fashionista, to keep up with the age, must continue to wear a mustache. Don't sneeze at your fellows. And for weeks to come, like a wedding ring, humanity was clothed. This rag was on your face, obliged by a sense of duty, hinted that trouble, maybe she came for a long time, well, better forever. No response, no greeting, it's not clear what's what, and there's no light in the world that dispels the darkness. 4. Let the Lord keep the people, and all that is all we ask of God. To us tormenting COVID, developing the golden autumn, and the world, like Pushkin, in quarantine, where everyone is now enrolled, rise from its depths, from the celebration of free thought. Take up hard work, it will be washed in ink, and rhymes will flow guiltily. The hand will reach for the paper. 5. Visited all without fear. Visited all without fear, was at any time in the house, but now by means of a mask I forgot how good I am. The heart requires space, and good news, but today I'm like Zorro, a hide from the authorities everywhere. Beware of evil nature. I'm sure I'll understand the value of inner freedom through the outer prison. 6. This unintentional viral in the summer, I would only like to be a poet. No seed to sow, no fields to plow, fly like a bird up the sky through life. Brothers and sisters, thrushes and tits. What can we take from us? We are fathered birds. What is the latter to take away greedily, the right to while whistle too?
Thank you very much, dear friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the beautiful poems. And everyone, we have one more poet and then we have the talk back. So stick around, stay with us. Thank you so much. The next poet is Rosie Toledo. Actually, Rosie was with us from the beginning of IASNI, of the Immigrant Artists and Scholars in New York. She is presented already with us a few times at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe in the real venue in New York, in Manhattan on the 3rd Street. So it's really wonderful to be able to welcome Rosie Toledo now in our virtual space. Rossy, please turn your video on and join us. Thank you.
Yes, hello, I'm here, Saviana. Thank you very much for organizing this online. I mean, Zoom is a wonderful place to be because we can get together with friends from all over the world. And I know this has been a long event, so I'm just gonna get into it. What I'm going to read comes from a collection of poetry called Vacíos or Hollow. The collection has been translated by Bruce Jackson, a colleague of mine, and it speaks to the emptiness that is caused by isolation, oppression, racism, sexism, violence, domestic violence, so many things. And I hope it's not, too overshadowing, but with what is happening around the world, I hope that some of these speak to you in some way. Stay. They want you to be silence and shadow, that you fade by the edges, disappear in the mist. Your footsteps effaced by the water, you dropped from the script. But your hand squeezes, pushes, grips, builds. Your tears drench. Your smile sings. Your lungs fill, exhale. Your blood gives life and stains. Your footprints remain and remain and remain strong. Permanecer. Quieren que sea silencio y sombra, te desvanezcas por las orillas, desaparezcas en la niebla, tus huellas las borra el agua, te caigas por los renglones. Pero tu mano aprieta, empuja, se agarra, construye. Tus lágrimas mojan, pero tu sonrisa canta. Tus pulmones se inflan, exhalan. Tu sangre da vida y mancha. Tu huella queda y queda y queda fuerte. Poetry is not. Your toothless smile, your bruised face, your mutilated body is not. The erected statue of that man who increased hate, it is not. Only the brush of your fingers against my back is poetry. Poesía no es tu sonrisa desdentada, tu rostro amoratado, tu cuerpo mutilado, no es la estatua erguida de ese hombre que acrecentó el odio, no es. Solo el roce de tus dedos en mi espalda es poesía. The heart of the corolla. Our conversation does not end. Dishes in the sink. Winter far behind, no smell lingers on. Over the table, no one proclaims. Thinking is tedious work, and choosing the direction of the fall is not in our hands. What are we to do? Come and go, enter, and know less about our bodies, out of place, never measuring up to the conversation. We talk and talk, our bones hurt. The wrinkled smile will always be a smile, and no one feels like doing the dishes. It is a tremendous job to be air and stumble with grace, to be a bee's eye and hit the mark on the corolla's heart. It is a tremendous job. To look like a queen and be a cat, stretched out, worried, merely to put something out in the sun or in the heat of the stove or the conversation or at your feet. It is a tremendous job. El corazón de la corola. Nuestra conversión no cesa, platos en la pileta. Lejos quedó el invierno, nada humea, sobre la mesa nadie proclama. Pensar es tarea tediosa y elegir la dirección del declive no está en nuestras manos. ¿Qué haremos? Ir y venir, entrar y saber menos de nuestros cuerpos, fuera de lugar, nunca a la altura de la conversación. Hablamos y hablamos, los huesos duelen, la sonrisa arrugada siempre será sonrisa y nadie tiene ganas de lavar los platos. Es un gran trabajo ser aire y dar gracia a la caída. Ser ojo de abeja y dar en el corazón de la corola es un gran trabajo. Darse aires de reina y ser gata. Tenderse preocupada solo por poner algo al sol o al calor de la estufa o de las palabras o a tus pies. Es un gran trabajo. Like nothing. How many goodbyes? How many see you laters? Truly wishing this is not farewell. Each time giving up the here, the us, and betraying them, and betraying yourself each time. Now you do it with your head high, with a smile on your face, just like nothing, no teary eyes, with a frozen heart. Well rehearsed you have the farewell. Como si nada. ¿Cuántas veces despedirse? ¿Cuántas veces hasta luego? Deseando que de verdad este no sea un adiós. Cada vez renunciar al aquí, al nosotros, y traicionarlos y traicionarte cada vez. Ahora lo haces con la frente arriba, con una sonrisa en la boca, con un como si nada, sin una lágrima en los ojos, con el corazón helado. Tienes bien ensayado el adiós. The last poem I'm going to read, I'm just going to read it in English because it's a long poem. And with that, I will say goodbye. What I am. While I was high above, while I admire everything from afar, I always wanted to fly. I wished to be born as an eagle or a seagull, to feel my body against the wind, the freshness of the sky against my face, the gravity pulling me to fight against it. Now that I'm here, I see my dream fulfilled. I am high in the sky, coming down at full speed. I center myself to discern. Who am I? But I see nothing. I feel nothing. I only know that I descend at unraveling speeds. I begin to break through the clouds. Already I can see the trees turning green, the town crammed in streets, buildings, cars, visages of people looking up to see me descend, frowning to the radiance of the sun. I want to arrive, embrace them, hug them, but I am without control. What am I? Who am I? What moves me with such force? Oh, dreadful reality. I collapse with infinite force. I come apart in 1,000 incandescent pieces, dragging all that I touch. The cry that escapes me is greater than my imagination. It resounds in all that it grips, provoking countless shrieks more. I am destruction, I am anguish, I am hate, formidable and contained, what I never wanted to be, the most miserable of human intelligence. I am the terror of all mothers because I kill and wound what they create. I am the end of all, the mortal instrument of a diseased civilization. I am ashamed of who I am, of carrying out the work of destruction that was dealt to me. I have filled the town that I admired with blood and silence, with sobs and misery. I was thrust into the world in the name of a God and of some liberty unknown to me. I wouldn't have ever wanted to exist. Thank you.
Thank you, Rossy. Beautiful. So now thank you to all our poets. Please turn your videos on, our featured poets. All of you, please turn your videos on for our short talk back. And we promise to be over by 4 p.m. Indeed, it's a long event, but it's great to be together, you know. These are such difficult times. I think it's wonderful to just be together in the Zoom room across so many languages and borders. Thank you, Chris Lopez from the Nurican Poets Cafe for taking care of us in terms of the technical aspects and spotlighting us and doing what's needed here on Zoom. And I think that now it would be good to have gallery view, Chris Lopez, so we can see all the poets on our screen. Thank you, the audience, for joining us. And of course, next time, maybe you will be a featured poet. Please post your questions in the chat so we can have a little talk back with our poets. And first, actually, I do have one question for the poets, but I like to hear from all of you, as Ioana suggested. Tell us, where are you Zooming from? Which town, which city are you in? Because it's very interesting to see where is everybody at this time. So we're gonna talk again, unfortunately, in alphabetical order, because it's easier to deal with that on Zoom in these little boxes. So Uberto, so who do we have here? We have many people in the audience. Thank you all for being here, but we're gonna focus on the poets, the featured poets, because we only have 15 minutes. So let's see. And my main question is, so I'm gonna actually ask you to tell us both where you are and to answer to my first question so we can finish on time. So my question is, what inspires you these days to write poetry? So actually we have two questions at this point. Where are you Zooming from? And what inspires you to write poetry these days? Shall we start in the alphabetical order? Hebert, Abimorad.
Yo, Sebastián.
Sebastián.
Aquí estoy. Entonces la pregunta es, ¿en dónde está? ¿De dónde nos está llamando? ¿Y por qué empezó a escribir poesía?
Y estoy en Gotemburgo, al sur de Suecia. Y empecé a escribir por la situación de exiliado, ¿no?
So he is in Gothenburg, right underneath Switzerland, and he started writing because of exile.
That's it, Sebastian? Thank you, Hebert. Thank you. I'm happy that you still, we all still find inspiration and write poetry. Muhsine.
Well, I am calling you, joining you from Bursa, Turkey. It's a city in the western part of Turkey. And well, I think the problems of the women around the world are really sometimes getting into me and then waking me up in the middle of the night. And I write these poems in the middle of the night usually, and the problems, and my trying to bring them out into the public is inspiring me to write the poetry. And of course, sometimes love is also inspiring. And I want to thank you to all of my poet friends and congratulate you all. And Rossy was the last one, but believe me, we had the great attention to listen to you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Saviana.
Thank you, Muhsine. And again, people who are still here with us, you can download that PDF file with the bios of the poets, so you learn more about them if you don't know already. And let's see who's next among our poets to answer the question. Lidija?
Actually, it is Sanaz, but it's not a problem.
Okay, I'm going to post the order again so we don't mess it up. All right.
Okay. Yes, I am in Ljubljana. I live in Ljubljana, but as I said, I am from Macedonia. And everything I think is inspiring me. But I think that it's in this lockdown and in this COVID situation, all of us are looking inside our being, actually, because no many things happen around in the society around us. We cannot walk alone. So I think that I look inside myself, and I'm looking for my memories, perceptions, attitudes, but it is very a fruitful time, actually, this situation with the COVID, because as you see, we cannot travel, not even as poets and writers around the world. We stay at home and we have to write. So I do that all the time now, this year, mostly of the time, yes.
Thank you, Lidija. Sanaz? Sanaz, can you turn your video on? Sanaz, are you there? Sanaz, can you hear us? Okay, we're gonna go to the next poet, and when Sanaz turns her video on, we're gonna have her answer. So we have Hilal.
Sanaz is going to the toilet. Okay. Well, actually, I am here in Istanbul, and Istanbul, you know, is the in between Europe and Middle East, and we have a very serious condition in COVID. And yesterday we had our first vaccination. Thanks to God, it's very really lucky of us. From the March, we had a post-traumatic stress syndrome all over the world, not only in Istanbul, all over the world, because of the pandemic, because of the fear of being ill or being dead. I don't know how to describe this fear. We all have this trauma. We cannot go out, we cannot see each other, we cannot go outside the country. Can you imagine? This year we had 3 meetings in Madrid, Rostov, and Cuba, and we have all lost these chances. And of course, the tickets are all that. So it's a very big trauma, because people really don't get used to live in this such pressure, in only houses, in only these how can I call it, closed condition. And from that March, we are really trying to get used to this condition. And I am working at the hospital. As you know, I am a gynecologist. And actually I couldn't rest only 1 second. I was working since March, very busy. And so this meeting is a really life-saving for me. Thank you for Saviana, really. And I hope we can repeat these such meetings in every place of work. For example, Vadim also can do another meeting and invite us. And also Muhsine can do another meeting and invite us. And also Sanaz and Rossy and Hebert, Sebastian, everyone. So I think it will be nice to see each other and to be together again.
Thank you, Hilal. Yes, that's a great idea. Sanaz, we missed you. So
Yeah.
can you talk about inspiration and what keeps you going these days in writing poetry?
I was drinking a water. My water in the glass was finished, so I'm so sorry if I wasn't there. I'm living in Luxembourg, and now I'm in Luxembourg, of course, Luxembourg City, and you know, the poetry is the big reason for me to reflecting the view and perception of the community that around me. It's like a need for me. Without it, a large part of my feeling and the thought cannot be really retold or seen, and I can able to represent my sensory perception of society throughout poetry. And these days, of course, is so difficult and hard days for all of us around the world. I wish that it would be finished as soon as possible, so we can go back to our life again. Thank you again for you, Saviana, and it was great to see you again. And I remember always the day that we had in Istanbul, the great day.
Thank you, Sanaz. So where are you now? Where are you zooming from?
Luxembourg City.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you, Sanaz. Then Ioana.
Yes, hello. As I was saying, I'm speaking from Washington, D.C., from my house in Washington, which is very close to what you see on the screens. It's not far, not too far. So this sadness of this moment, which we really hope will be another beginning for something good and not a beginning for something bad. And Saviana, thank you for really writing in that way about it. It's difficult to write about it. It's in full swing. Well, and so COVID too. Certainly, I was born, I must tell you that, I was born in Transylvania, about 2 miles distance from the Dracula Castle, which in fact is not Dracula Castle. I must thank you very much for including me in the program. And one thing which warmed my heart so much, and this is why I was asking you, where do you Zoom from? In fact, it is because I was in a few of these places. I am also completely mesmerized with the image of Istanbul. I wrote poems about it. It is a magnificent city. I was in Sweden, and this is another thing. We were in a few places which now reunite us on the screen. And of course, we were forced to stay indoors, to stay around the house. And it is such a dream accomplished to dream again about these places where you all come from, which we have also seen some of them at least. So really, let us hope for the best. Inspired. We are inspired by introspection, as Lydia said. And in Ljubljana, I was also even due to her, and that's Struga. So you see all these words which live so beautifully in poetry. And again, thank you a lot for your beautiful poetry, which inspires us also from one another.
Thank you, Ioana. So well said, beautifully said. Thank you. Noe.
Hello again. I'm connecting from Mexico City, which is my birthplace. I would like to lie to you and tell you that I am like by the seaside, where I would really like to be right now. But well, it's not possible at the moment. Here we're living, what I think is the most critic moment of the pandemic here in my country, in my city specifically. Well, the vaccination campaign is already on, but well, you know, this is Latin America, is the third world, so we still don't know when are we gonna approach again some sort of ancient normality. And well, the reason why have been still writing amid this pandemic is basically just trying not to go completely insane, you know, to go completely nuts among all this thing that is going on. Well, I really think that, well, aside from all the professional plans that have changed for me during this year, well, I was supposed to travel a lot. I do actually travel a lot. I basically fit into theater, as I told you some minutes ago, and well, all that things just were postponed, and I have been basically here for the last year. Aside from that personal stuff, I think that all this stuff has reminded us, or at least me, about my vulnerability, about the frailty of life, about, you know, how small and weak are we compared to a lot of stuff. And well, it has been some sort of a spiritual journey, to be sincere with you, dealing with myself, dealing with frustration. But at the same time, I must say, being sincere, I'm very grateful. I have been healthy so far, as well as my family. And I have had these chances like this particular reading, in which I was invited by Saviana, and I'm very grateful with her for that, to share, you know, in this virtual platforms, moments with all these bright and talented writers from all over the world. And of course, that wouldn't have been possible in ancient normality, because it will be very hard for me to go to, you know, Washington and New York and all these wonderful places, Istanbul, well, Russia, etc., etc. So this is the bright side of this year, to have these chances. And I would just want to be, I want to confirm and repeat my gratefulness for this opportunity. I have also been to the New Yorican Cafe in New York City when I have been there, and it's also an honor to be part of this, particularly with the New Yorican Cafe. And thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, Noe. It's my turn, but I'm going to be very short because we are at time. So yes, I'm upstate New York in Ithaca, which is the home of Cornell University and Ithaca College, where I teach, and it's a little, you know, it's more space and more nature than New York City. So it's been good to be here, and actually it's been good for my writing, and I'm very inspired by talking with you all and reading other people's work and reading and hearing your work. So that's that with me. Vadim, Terekhin.
First of all, I want to say grateful, Savian. This event is very important in this time. Pandemic, the worst for healthy, but pandemic is good for creativity. I write many poems this time. In Russia, the poet is special person. I think poetry will save the world. Poetry unites everything that keeps our life together. I am a member of a committee of a world poetry movement, World Without Walls. We had many online festivals in 2020. Our movement includes all the largest poetry festival in the world. Currently, 170 countries have enjoyed it us. I hope you will be with us. Thank you very much. Thank you. I want to say grateful all my friends. I see Hilal, I hear Savian, I hear Arda. I hope we see you soon. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yes, let's hope poetry will save this world. I really believe in poetry.
Yeah.
We all believe. Thank you. So well said. Rosie.
Yes, hi. I am saying hi to you from Tennessee. I teach at the University of Tennessee here in the South in the United States. I'm originally from Mexico City, but I have lived in the United States for 30 years now. And so 10 years ago, I was in New York and I was taking a workshop with Saviana. But I've been writing poetry about 15 years now. What inspires me is the beauty of this world, and sometimes even dark times like we are living right now with the pandemic, they're still beautiful. And I feel like poetry can bring some hope to any situation. And so I hope that my hope is that with poetry, we poets bring beauty and unite the people and make them think about what we're living and how can we make these things better. We have the power to make people think about the situations that we are facing. And so thank you very much. This event, Saviana, it's been great because it makes us think of who we really are and ignites us to write more. And so I applaud your effort. Thank you, Saviana.
So much, Rosie. And because we are at time, we're gonna close here with everyone saying a very short goodbye message in their own language. And again, I think it's so important at this time to be together, united by poetry. So we're gonna start again with saying the very short goodbye messages, and we're gonna end and thank you all. So Hebert.
I want to thank Aldo, especially Karen, for translation to English. Saviana was very exciting to find here after 20 years.
Yes, we spent some great time in Struga 21 years ago. So, say goodbye in Spanish.
Goodbye.
Adiós, adiós a todos. Adiós, adiós.
Adiós, arriba el Uruguay.
Gracias, gracias, gracias.
Muhsine.
Thank you very much for inviting me here, Saviana and Ieronim Poetry Cafe. It was lovely to be with you all and listening to all your poetry. And thank you to Sebastian and reading all the other poet friends' poems in English so that we could understand it. Thank you. And thank you for all my friends who joined us from Ireland, from London, from Cork, from Turkey. Çok teşekkür ediyorum değerli arkadaşlarım, Türkiye'den katılanlar, Londra'dan ve İrlanda'dan katılanlar. Hepinize iyi akşamlar diliyorum. Thank you very much. I congratulate you all and see you soon.
Thank you, Muhsine. And let's not go.
I hope to see you soon.
I stay here.
Bye-bye, dear friends. Bye-bye.
Can you say it in Russian? Anybody? Your language?
Gracias, adiós.
Gracias a todos.
До глядания.
Abrazo,
Thank you very much.
abrazo.
See you again.
Adiós.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Bye. Hoşçakalın.
Thank you, dear friends.
خدا نگهدار. بدرود.
Hoşçakalın.
Anybody who still has some last words that they have to
Okay.
come out of them?
Well, I hope that please, friends, let's keep in touch because I would love to really read your poems in my own time again. And Saviana's poems are really great, right on the point. And thank you very much for the America poem. That's great. And Noe says that it wasn't a poem, but it was really poetic. Thank you very much. And
you very much.
Ioana, it was lovely to listen to you. And Lidija, how nice. And Hebert is maybe only a person that he can read my a novel in Swedish, that which has been translated to Swedish.
Okay.
And this is my Swedish.
Ja,
And
Wow.
ja visst.
this is in
Ja.
Spanish.
Oh,
muy
that's
bien.
a donation.
Spanish,
Yeah,
Spanish.
both of them are on Amazon.com. You can reach them. But I hope that one day I will read the Russian poetry too. And lovely. And please keep in touch, dear friends. Please keep in touch. Poetry is the greatest things will make us happy.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Have
Bye.
another name. Bye. Bye. We're gonna read.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wonderful
Bye-bye.
poet.